And welcome back. In his book, The Other West Moore, Maryland Governor Moore described the sacrifices that his mother and grandparents made to pay for his education to a private military school. So it's surprising somewhat that Governor Moore is now allowing a voucher program that was passed under Governor Hogan that subsidizes low-income students in the state to attend private schools to wither and die from lack of funding. Mark, several weeks ago, you brought up this topic as a parting shot, I believe, how Governor Moore was allowing the broadening options and opportunities for students today, or the Boost program, which is an equity vehicle for families to remove their children from failing schools and I want you to expand on this.
Well, this is a tiny little program. It captured a considerable amount of attention. It's 10 million in total, which is just like less than 1% of the total education budget. But as you said, it provides, again, only families that are in the lower income families that are qualified for the meals program to take what is a fraction of the amount of money that we spend per school. So that it's money that would otherwise have to be spent for public education to go to alternative schools. And it is just really heart-wrenching to hear from the families that are worried about being locked out because of the state not going forward in funding. I'm hopeful. The leader of the Senate, Ferguson, has talked about possibly funding it, has heard from the families. And it's also interesting, I'm going to just take a moment, the governor, Wes Moore, when he was CEO of the Robin Hood Foundation, one of the things that group did was improve educational choice. Not Maryland, up in New York, but it is something that I would hope that he would appreciate, is the opportunity to provide for a ladder up for kids that would otherwise be trapped in subpar education.
So, Mike, Governor Moore is getting pushback from the Senate President Bill Ferguson. It's not a surprise necessarily because Baltimore County had the greatest recipients of funding from the Boost program, the most number of students who took advantage of it. Is this bill going to die this year, or what's going to happen, do you think?
Hey, just given what I've seen, there aren't that many things that have bipartisan support. This actually seems to be one of them, with the exception of kind of the governor's reduction in his budget. But I think with the increased funding that you're seeing for education in general, to Mark's point, it's such a small percentage that it would seem to me that if you're going to increase funding writ large at the level that we're going to keep this program funded at the $10 million level that it's been funded at in the past, seems as though that actually makes sense and is consistent and doesn't really undermine anything else. If you're scraping to pay dollars between public education and private education, okay, I can see we want to have that kind of a discussion. But at a time when we're going to make a significant investment in broader public education, and given the small percentage of this and the bipartisan support behind it, it seems to me as though it's something that you're liable to see funded at the current level.
So, Mark, the Boost program provided funding for students from failing schools in Baltimore County, as we mentioned, the biggest recipient, but also Baltimore City, Prince George's County, and wait for it, Montgomery County. So, shouldn't this program really deserve the funding that was anticipated before?
Well, as you mentioned, it was used by families across the state. I think not every county, but I think there was sort of the overwhelming majority of the jurisdictions. They had some opportunity. Look, education, we've learned, is not one size fits all. There are a variety of ways that kids learn. Providing opportunities for the right way for a kid to learn is really incredibly important, and that's really a ladder for success for the future.
Well, look, I think studies have shown time and time again that quality education is the route to success in our society. It is the civil rights issue of our time. Every child should get a quality education. And if we don't figure out a way to do this, now personally, I'd have vouchers for everybody. Let them, you pay your taxes, get a voucher, go to the school of your choice. If you want to go to the public school, fine. If you want to use that voucher for private education, fine. But, parents have got to be engaged and determinative of what's going to happen to their children. Anyway, we got to go on to our next topic.